Yo, what's going on? In this bonus episode, I'm talking with Allie Ostrander, pro runner for Oiselle. She recently ran her half marathon debut in Mesa at the Mesa Half Marathon, so we'll get a detailed race recap on how that event went for her. And then we'll also talk about the shoes she gets to train and race in as an athlete who is not sponsored by a shoe brand. And then we'll wrap up the conversation by going over where she sits on the list of top 5 fastest half marathoning YouTubers. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Allie O. Hey Allie, congratulations on your recent race in Mesa. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, thank you. Definitely still a little bit sore from the race. Couple battle wounds, mainly on my feet. But other than that, feeling pretty good coming off of it, and I'm excited for the next training block.
Okay, so I'd love to hear more about the race itself, though, because Mesa is not a half marathon that is easy to watch if you're not actually in Mesa. So can you give us a rundown of what the race was like for you?
Yeah, so this was my first ever half marathon. I was really nervous going into it, but it was also fun because my sister, her husband, some of our friends, Spencer, my partner, all are here. So we have a big group of people that we're all racing, and so that kind of helped like lighten the mood and keep it fun. However, I wasn't doing like the elite athlete shuttle because I was with this group. And so we got stuck in really bad traffic heading to the race. And literally I had to jump out of the car and start my warm up on the shoulder of the freeway because we were like still stuck in traffic 45 minutes before the race start. So that was a little stressful, but the race ended up getting delayed 15 minutes. Everyone made it on time. And I was feeling like so much more relaxed once we were just there and I knew we wouldn't miss it. And then once the race started, I felt pretty good. My plan was to go out around 5:25 pace and then hopefully like be able to pick it up later in the race, and if not, like hopefully that I would be able to hold that and that wouldn't be like over the line and cause me to bonk. So I started out at that pace and just kind of naturally got into a group of like 7 or 8 guys and one other woman, Natasha Wodak from Canada. And we were just clicking off miles between 5:26 and 5:28, which was like pretty close to the pace I wanted, like a little bit slower, but it felt good and like I wasn't having to push too hard too early. So I didn't really like push to make sure we were going 3 seconds faster every mile just because it's my first half and I didn't want to go too far too early. And the first 5 miles, I felt super relaxed. Honestly, the first like 6.5, maybe, I felt really relaxed. And then getting to 7, I was starting to feel it a bit more. And then 7 to 8 was when it really started to hit me. And then between 8 and 10, I was struggling a lot just because I was hurting pretty bad and we had such a long ways to go still. And last year I did a 10-mile race and I was like, I don't think a half marathon will be that different. But then when I hit 9 miles, I was like, no, this is so different because I have 4 miles to go instead of being on the last mile. So like mentally, it's so hard to believe that you can keep going for that long. So I was really struggling, but one of the guys from our friend group, Ryan, was in my like little group that was running, and I was like, my legs are gone, and he was like, everyone's legs are gone. And that was like the reality check I needed of, just like, you just got to be tough here. Like everyone struggles at this point in the race, which I didn't necessarily know because I've never done a half. So I think that's just like valuable lesson to learn. And it was a good wake up call. And so I had started kind of fading off the pace for mile 9 and 10. But then I like picked it back up and was like, no, okay, you're fine. Like mentally check in here and just really push. And I was able to cut down the paces to the end of the race. And I ended up catching back up to the group that had dropped me and then passing most of them. So it was a good empowering way to like end the race, having like moved up in the last 3 miles, even though I had so much doubt at mile 10. And I ended up getting 4th and running 71:10, which is 5:25 pace. So like it was good, but I was hoping that I would like start at 5:25 and work down more than I did, whereas I started at 5:25, started to fade, and then worked down, so it just averaged out to 5:25. But overall, like, it was a good first half, and I think next time I'll be way more prepared.
Quick question though, as you're crossing the line, are you someone that's like, watch later, there's photographers here, I gotta, get my finish line photo? Or are you like, watch first, then photo?
I never really think about photos at the finish, honestly. Well, like, because I don't have like a photographer or videographer that's like here with me or anything. So like if someone is taking photos, I'm not aware of it. So I'm just like focus, get across the line, stop the watch, and then just like catch my breath. Honestly, I don't know if anyone took any photos, but if they did, I'm probably just like keeled over. So
Okay, so I think your answer is like choros first, then whatever else happens after that.
yeah. Whatever
Okay.
happens, happens.
Awesome. So, and what shoes were you wearing? It looked to me like you were racing in Alpha Flies.
Yeah, I wore Alphafly 3s, which I did almost all my training in the Nike Vaporflies. But I had heard that Alphaflies were like a little bit faster, especially for long sustained efforts, which before this half marathon block, I didn't really do much of because I was doing way more like track and trail training. So there was no like long road efforts happening. But I decided to try them out. I did one workout in them before the race, and I got really bad blisters on my heels. So then I had to wait until the race for the blisters to heal. And then I bandaged up my heels before the race, but still got horrible blisters, bled through the Alpha Flies. But I think they're worth it. Like, they do feel really fast and bouncy, especially when you're like on a fast pavement course.
Can we go over what other shoes you've been running in terms of your training? Can you give us a rundown, like an average week? What are the shoes that you're reaching for?
Yeah, so I am not married to any one particular easy run shoe. I kind of alternate between Brooks Glycerin / Brooks Ghost and New Balance 880s. I kind of I just like New Balance and Brooks as brands generally, and then just like a neutral trainer from either of those. I like to have two on rotation so that it's like slightly changing the stress on my body each run. And then besides that, I do most of my workouts in Vaporflies. And like if I'm on the track, especially Vaporflies, if I'm on the roads or treadmill, I could do Alpha Flies. But I don't really like to wear Alpha Flies if I'm taking a lot of turns. And then sometimes in track workouts, I'll switch into spikes at the end, but that's usually more like midsummer track season type time. And for that, I'll wear Dragonflies, Nike Dragonflies. And that's pretty much all the shoes that I train in.
All right, that's a pretty good variety, though. That's a lot of different options for you. Now, you have a pretty wide variety because you're not sponsored by a shoe brand. You have a new sponsor now. You're working with Oiselle. Congratulations on the new contract.
Thank you.
How's that going for you so far?
I mean, it's been great. They've been super supportive of my goals. It's not a performance-based contract or like I'm an athlete for them, but I don't have like performance standards I have to meet, which is really nice because I already put enough pressure on myself as it is to perform, and like I'm very intrinsically motivated towards that, so I don't feel like I need a contract adding to that. And they've just been amazing with like, being like my biggest supporters, biggest cheerleaders, and like providing me with amazing gear and clothes. Like I've really been enjoying trying out all these new styles that they have. And so I'm really excited, and I think it's super advantageous for me that they don't make shoes because I do have the freedom to train and race in whatever I want. For example, if I were with, New Balance, then I would have to wear their super shoe even if I liked the Alpha Fly more. And as someone who is hoping to switch between roads and cross country and trails and track, like it's very unlikely that one brand will be my favorite across all disciplines. So I'm excited that I can switch between whatever brands I want for shoes and racing, and especially with how quickly technology is evolving on the shoe front, like that feels so comforting to me.
Yeah, you get to pick and cherry pick the best of whatever works best for you from whatever brand it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when it comes to kind of, you mentioned, road, trail, and track. You've raced in Golden Trail Series. You were making an Olympic run last year, and now you're on the roads. In your discussions with Oiselle, like how much of like that did tell them? Did you guys talk about like how important is it for them to have like, well, we really want to have, say, a road athlete, or what? How much did kind of your variety of running come in to play in the discussions?
Yeah, I think that was what really appealed to me about Oiselle, was that they weren't looking for a specific type of athlete. They were looking for me. Like, they wanted me to be their athlete. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I want the flexibility to be able to chase whatever is really getting me excited about training and running and racing, and not feeling like I'm tied down to a certain discipline or a certain event or a certain series at any point in the year. And like, even, say I started a track season and was like, oh, I'm actually really not enjoying this, then I could just switch out. Or if I did a trail race and was like, actually, no, I want to do roads instead, like, I'm not tied to anything, which is really nice. And that was one of the main reasons I decided to part ways with Normal. Like, I loved the company and working with them, but they were really looking for a sub-ultra Golden Trail Series athlete. And I was like, I do enjoy these races, but I don't want to have to center my year around them. I want it to more be something that I can do, or I might do if I want to, instead of having that obligation.
You have a very successful YouTube channel I've been watching for a really long time. But like, how much did like the social media aspect of it come into play in terms of your discussions with Oiselle or with any other potential sponsors? Like, how much of that on the pro scene is that becoming more important in terms of those kinds of negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, most of the pros that I've talked to who have signed again in the last couple years do have social media stipulations in their contract. It's definitely attractive to brands if you have a presence online, because every professional athlete is technically part of the marketing budget, so you are an advertisement basically. And I think it's not as much about making sales as it is about like proving that the product is valid and very good and high level, but like, it is also good to be able to make a sale. And so I think that while my Oiselle contract is not like social media based, like, I do have other contracts where I'm an influencer. This is a professional running contract, but I won't lie to myself and say that it isn't partially because I have an online presence, because getting a professional running contract is really, really difficult. And I got 7th at the Olympic trials in the steeplechase, but there were people ahead of me, someone that made the Olympics that was unsponsored. So I think if I didn't have social media, I probably wouldn't have had as many options, or might not have had any options at all. So while it's not in the contract, I think it's a reason that I got it.
Can we talk a little bit about going forward, though? I'm excited to see you on the roads. I was happy to see that you were making your half marathon debut. It was also exciting to see you race at the trials. And so I'm happy to see you excited about running either way. But what is exciting you? You mentioned that earlier. What is exciting you going forward into this season? Are we doing a track season in the summer? Or is it going to be more roads? Like, we've got the USATF half marathon championships around the corner. Like, can you give us an insight into what's coming?
Yeah, I mean, I am definitely going to be doing track this summer, and I plan on racing some of that soon. I think a few different things excite me. It is a trail world championships year. I want to try to make Team USA in that. I also want to try to make the US championship finals in track as well, go for the US team in track, in the steeplechase. So those are kind of those are the two big things that are in my sights this year. But I also do want to continue to explore road racing. However, I don't think it'll be a focus this year, but I want to keep integrating that into my training so that I get more experience.
Let's end now. Something that I like to do for athletes that I interview when they are YouTubers as well is I like to put together a top 5 list. I've put together a top 5 list of the fastest half marathoning YouTubers. There's a couple of stipulations, some fake rules that I made up. One, okay, you can't be retired.
Okay.
And 2, you have to have posted a video to your own channel. So you can't just be an athlete that's on YouTube, but you have to have your own channel. You have to have posted in the last year. So that takes off three athletes right away that I can think of. With those rules in mind, do you have an idea of where your time puts you on a list of top 5 half marathoning YouTubers?
Honestly, no, because since I hadn't run the half marathon before, I don't know what anyone's running the half marathon. So I wasn't tuned into those times.
Okay, yeah, half marathon's a little bit tougher because it's harder to find people. People don't always talk about, like, a lot of times they're tuning up for their marathon, so they don't always talk about it. But
Yeah.
I've got a list. So we'll start at number 5 for the half marathon list. Number 5, I have Sarah Vaughn with a 1:12:56. She ran that in New York in 2022 at the
Okay.
United Half. Number 4, I have Philly Bowden out of the UK, 1:12:15. She ran that in Berlin last year. And then third place, I have Mika Rivera, who ran a 1:11:48 in Houston just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then I have you coming in at number 2 with a 1:11:10.
All right. I feel good about that.
And then number 1 on the list, I have Gwen Jorgensen, also a Boulder resident, at 1:10:58. She ran that in Pittsburgh in 2018. So that's the top 5 list.
Well, I guess now I've got a new target time. 1:10:58.
You gotta shave 12 seconds.
71.
Yeah, 12 seconds. I think you could do it. Just line it up there again.
Yeah.
Get some friends to run with you again, and then I think you're good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, now I know what needs to be done for YouTube supremacy. So,
Okay. All right. Well, good luck to you. I know it'll probably be a while then before you're line up for another half marathon, but when you do, I'll be excited, and I'm also going to be excited to see you in your track season. Hopefully, you'll have good trials this year.
yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for it.
Is there a video coming out soon about your Mesa half marathon on your channel?
Yes, either today or tomorrow I'll post it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, and then I'll update this if this comes out first with the link to that, so everyone could check it out. And I hope everyone will check out Allie's channel, YouTube channel, and also very active on Instagram as well. Anywhere else that you're posting frequently?
No, pretty much just Instagram and YouTube. I also post on TikTok every once in a while. Oh, I post on Strava every day.
Okay. That makes sense. That's another great place to make sure you're following up with Allie. Well, Allie, thanks so much for your time. I know you're relaxing now, recovering after the half marathon, still in Mesa, but I appreciate you sitting down with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.